Hey everybody, it's Matt. Wanted to get back with you guys again this month. Actually, we're getting ready to start tomorrow. It just so happens I'm in Dean's office tomorrow. We're starting the Platinum group. So down in Dean's office, it's almost the same temperature here as it is in the Quad Cities right now, which is really weird. But hey, I'm happy to be here. I'm going to cover some stuff on automation with you guys. I got some cool stuff to share, and there's going to be more cool stuff to share. I've got something I want to talk to you guys about on what's called it's a smart sheet. We're just literally at the tip of the iceberg, but it's unbelievable the technology this thing can do. So I'll get to that in a minute, but I want to make sure that we cover some stuff on automation, and more than anything, this next 15 minutes or whatever that it is that I end up talking to you guys is going to be more of a reminder service. We've, as you guys are building your business, automation is really important. Most of you guys, I think about a third of you are doing real estate maybe full-time in this group. I can't remember the exact number, but most of you guys are still working at another job. So you're doing this stuff part-time, and the more you can automate your business, as you guys know, the more, you can do a lot more with less amount of time. I started 11 years ago. The technology now compared to 11 years ago, it's not even in the same universe. You guys have a lot more opportunities, and the technology keeps getting better and better. So I'm using this as a reminder service because I have a feeling that a lot of you guys are not using the automation that we have taught. One other cool thing is Dean's working with Chad Bartlett right now. Chad's in the Platinum group. On building out his automation. Chad's got a step on me when it comes to automation. He's more of a computer techie guy than I am, and he's really done a good job with a lot of this automation. So that program's coming out soon, and I'm sure you guys are going to have that opportunity to really wrap your heads around that information as well. But in the meantime, I wanted to really dive in on reminding you guys about some of the things that we've taught you over time. You can go back into the reps course and 4 Weeks to Freedom and really review this stuff. And you should be in that habit anyway. As you progress and do deals, stop. Even though you've gone through the entire reps program, it's kind of like reading a book. When you read a book, you can read it cover to cover and learn a lot of cool stuff. You set that book down and come back in a year progressing through your business, pick that book back up, and it's almost like a brand new book, because as you learn things, that information is going to hit you in a different way. So make sure you're going back through. I do watch all of the Facebook posts. You guys, you're active. I'd like to see more activity, but I'm still seeing a lot of questions being asked, which I'm not harping on you guys. By no means we're here to help, but I do see a lot of questions being asked that's covered in the reps program. So don't be afraid to go back through, spend a little time on reviewing that information and refreshing your memory on a lot of this stuff. So let's talk a little bit about automation. First of all, I did this in the reps program, and just remember, if you want me to go a little deeper on some of these things, it's very easy for me just to tell Amanda to film a new video and teach you guys some more. But just remember, we talked about the IFTTT. Now that stands for if this, then that. And this is a little plug-and-play program, and what we like to use it for, I've used it for a lot of things over time, but if you go to that website, ifttt.com, I believe, this is a little plug-and-play website, and there's a really cool way to set up alerts from Craigslist with this. Very simple. We covered it in the reps program, I believe, but you can set it up so that this automatically emails you every time somebody posts a Craigslist ad that meets your criteria. So, for example, if you want to buy houses, if you want to look at, let's say, houses in the $75,000 or less range, you can set up IFTTT to send you those types of deals. Or with keywords, somebody, lists a property that says, and puts in there must sell, you can get those alerts sent directly to you and instantly. So somebody posts that ad, and then it immediately goes right to your email, and which you've got on your phone, and you can be the jump on that deal versus everybody else. So just remember, we're in a competitive market, and the first person to get those deals under contract, the first person to make that offer is going to be the one that ends up with those deals. So that's a great little refresher. Everybody should be setting up their IFTTT to be able to get those alerts. The same thing with Zillow. You can do the same thing with Zillow. And you can do it, obviously Zillow will cover for sale by owner deals, but also, stuff that's listed on the MLS. The MLS isn't as important at this because you guys are making offers through the MLS. But you can set up the Zillow to send you an alert when somebody lists a property for sale. You can, and we covered this in the reps program as well. You can set it up so that you get an email. So if somebody lists a property within a certain price range, the price range that you want to buy in, then you can get that alert, and if it's a for sale by owner, you might be the first one to get the jump on that deal. Again, this is something that I still do. I still get this stuff and look at this stuff all the time. So that's another thing you need to make sure that you set up. Speaking of automation, you want to make sure that with the MLS, obviously the MLS is very competitive right now. And I don't see that changing for the next several years. Be working the MLS. If I took a look at the snapshot of all the deals I have under contract, I only have about 25 to 30% of the deals I'm doing right now from the MLS. Everything else is coming from my own marketing. But I'm still doing some deals from the MLS, and it would be a mistake not to be making those offers. So, we've had a lot of training on getting your VA. We met last month, and we talked a lot about virtual assistants and personal assistants. I think we got everybody on board on getting that going. So I hope that everybody has that in play right now. But make sure you've got your virtual assistants making those MLS offers. So this is the buy. Now, let's talk about buyers for a minute. I asked Dan on my team. Dan is the one that, Dan does he follows up on all of our leads that are really good leads. He does my wholesaling for me. So as we get a good deal, he's built his buyer's list, and he's building that buyer's list every single week. And I asked him the other day, where are we getting most of our buyers? Where are our best buyers coming from? And right now, we are getting our buyers from the newspaper. Now, I covered this in the reps, but I'm going to give you guys a little refresher on this in case you forgot. In the newspaper, every single week in most areas, you'll have a list where the newspaper will have what's called real estate transactions or real estate deeds. And they list every single property that's sold during that 7-day period prior to, and sometimes the information is a couple of months old because they're pulling it from the courthouse. But either way, every week you can see who bought properties recently and what they paid. So the entity that they used, what they paid for the property, who sold them the property, and the address. So that's important because, for one, you can see all of the LLCs. Anybody that's got an LLC, you know that's a buyer. But the cool part is once you see that buyer, multiple times, you can do a search for that buyer alone if you're looking at the newspaper on the internet, which is what we do. So as we scan through, we look for the LLCs. We see an LLC that bought a property, then we search that LLC by itself and see how many times it's come up in the last 30, 60, 90 days, and that gives you some information on how many houses that person's bought. Now remember, the one key piece to this is that if you just go to your real estate agent and you have them pull a cash buyers list like we've taught all of you to do, that's going to pull the deals that have sold only on the MLS. This technique will also pull anything that's sold. So if it was a for sale by owner deal that was never listed on the MLS or just an unlisted deal in general, that deal will come up and you'll see it in the paper. This is a weekly routine that I do. Every single Sunday I go on to the two main newspapers in the Quad Cities and I just poll to see who's buying properties, what do they pay, where, what stuff's selling for, and I have a really good idea of all the active buyers. And like I said, Dan, who's doing this for me every week, we're getting our best buyers from this. And this is something that, I'm having Dan do, which is an assistant, but you guys can get a virtual assistant to do the same thing. And in the meantime, as you're training somebody to do this, you can do it yourself. But this is a great way to get some buyers. The other thing is your VA should be posting these deals on Craigslist. Every single house that you get, the market's hot. The market's competitive. You should be posting all your deals on Craigslist for sale, even if you have a buyer lined up that you think will buy it. Still post it because you don't know what other buyers might come forward that want to buy that house. Again, that's all something you can automate with a virtual assistant. It's you can template it out and make it very easy. I also have down here, we've mentioned this before, but there's a website called findcashbuyersnow.com. It does cost, it's not super expensive, but this is a great way to automate the whole process. If you want to, pick up this subscription, you can just easily type in your zip code and a date range and find every single cash buyer that's bought properties in that date range in your area, in your county, or if you're virtual wholesaling and you're going into another state, you can pull that information from another state as well. So that's something that it's a kind of the cheat way to do it, but we're all about automation, and if it costs a little bit of money but it saves you time, it's totally worth it. So these things I'm using to buy, these are how we're finding our buyers, so that's how we're selling the properties. And I want to talk a little bit about Smartsheet. So I hired an operations manager for my company to take over, the daily operations. The cool part is this guy didn't have real estate experience. He had an operation experience, and he brought the Smartsheet idea. Google has something called a Smartsheet. Now it costs, but you can do a trial for free, and it's unbelievable the technology that these Smartsheets can do. And totally customizable, plug and play. And, if you're not a programmer type and you don't want to do, writing formulas, this is the ticket. Now, what can we use this for? I'm using it a lot in my property management company right now, but I'm going to have Amanda start using it for making offers on the MLS, tracking offers through the entire process to close. It's a really, really great tool to keep track of everything. So I know you guys are in a position where you're not doing tons and tons of deals yet, but that'll change over time, and this type of thing is where we're heading. Now, I don't know a ton about it yet. I'm just learning as well, but I'm trying to keep everybody leading edge. So we're learning. We're only at the tip of the iceberg on what the Smartsheet will do. So we're dialing into that. One other thing I want to talk about is I want to give you guys an automation challenge. I want everybody in this group to do this. Everybody write this down. I want everybody in the group to post on Facebook. I want you to post your favorite automation technique that you are using right now, okay? And let's just blow this automation thing up. Let's make sure we're sharing all of our automation. So I want you guys to post that on Facebook in the private group, and then let's just start trading ideas back and forth and really blow this up. Now, we do have a question here. For the newspapers, is it online or print? Actually, you can do it in both. We do all our stuff online because then it's searchable and you can go back several weeks, months, years, and very easily search for any of that information you look. So I don't read newspapers in paper copy any longer. I do everything online. So I'm sure you guys can do the same thing. I think most newspapers are online now. So it's very easy, and it's free. At least it is for the newspapers that we use. So you guys can do some searching on Smartsheets. I think we're going to start using them for offers and figuring out all the triggers that we can put in place and pushing stuff and reminders. There's a lot of reminders that are built in. I'm going to be teaching more and more about this. I'm going to put Amanda on it and have her learning it. But from what I've seen so far, the the technology is unbelievable. Do we have any more questions, Patrick, before I go? Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up, you guys. Again, let's get the automation challenge going on Facebook. Post your favorite automation thing. I'm going to be teaching more about smart sheets moving forward. And let's not forget about all this automation that we've already taught, and make sure you guys are putting that in place. So I will see you guys soon. I don't know off top hand when our next meeting is. Actually, we got another question coming up. We have to. Is Smart Sheet replacement to Podio? No, not yet. Could it be in the future? Potentially. But we might be building something out if it works the way. So I think it potentially, don't quote me on this, but it potentially could be a way to create a CRM, but without all the expensive upfront costs. But it looks to me like it'll do a lot of the same thing. So let's just keep posted on that. I'm going to be working on that as we go. So anyway, I hope you guys got a lot from this. I'll see you guys soon. In the meantime, let's get this automation challenge going on Facebook, and we'll talk to you guys soon.